If you are a creative sound professional or aspiring to be one, this video is for you because I will explain you in no time what you have to do in order to get to the next level within your career. My name is Bastian Gerner. I'm a senior Foley artist, have worked for 15 years within the industry, both on films and video games. 2025, I'm actually nominated for Best Game Foley for my work on Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. And this is my own studio that I'm operating from. Doing social media for 2 years now actually helped me to gain all my current clients that I have as a freelancer. And on top of that, I earned my first 10K online with coaching in the first year of doing this. Now I'm currently expanding with group coaching and things that I want to implement into my online business. But that is something I want to talk later. Before, I want to give you an idea of what this video will be for you in order to get to your next level. There are 2 things I want to share. The first thing is you should be better also putting content and yourself out there and share this with the world. I can give you a little example of Robert Dudzic, who is the biggest creator on earth when it comes to audio and sound design. Let's listen to what he has to say to that.
It's only one way get into business, and business basically work by recommendations. The best way, you have to be recommended by somebody. And how to get recommended? You have to showing yourself, introduce yourself to others, what you are capable to do, what you do. And you never know who will see your video, who will hear your work. And you never know, people might gonna see this thing and recommend you to others. This is exactly what's happened to me. Like, guys, it's like, nobody give me anything for free. I start posting my videos, and I did my first video. I go how I do what I do, and I just want to share my knowledge with you and show you my process. And eventually this thing turned right now to be for me full-time job because of your interest and people recommendations. People see my video and they recommend me to other people. They recommend me to so many other brands with I collaborate, and they recommend me to a lot of composers when I have a chance right now working on a lot of projects.
So here you go. You have the man himself, Robert Dudzic, telling us that putting content helped him to get to where he is now. And I can also tell you it helped me to where I am today. And it helped Ben Jacquier, and it helped Arnaudio, and it helped other people who put great content out there to get to the next level in their career. And this is something you could also do. So think about a way how to present yourself and make it meaningful to others, and then you can see how things happen around you. So that's the first thing I want to talk about before we're gonna tackle another thing that I see is very, very important for audio professionals in the creative field today. And that is recording more unique sounds. I found out on the hard way, becoming a Foley artist first after being a sound effects editor for many years, not recording as much as I should have in all those years for my unique sound design and my daily work. Now that I'm recording stuff every day, I know how much benefit it actually brings to the work. And also working on the highest level, you will see people record more and more stuff for themselves because they just see the uniqueness and the unique quality they want to deliver for the client and the product. So let's talk about someone who is on the very top of our industry, how he goes about his projects and how much he actually is dedicated towards recording unique sounds. No one less than Mark McGeaney himself.
Where she tumbles down the sand dune here, that's me tumbling down a sand dune. Literally doing the stunt myself, and it hurt a lot. So here's... I just wanted that to be something real. We knew that anything to do with sand, we wanted to try. We did fake Foley. We walked around with microphones in front of our feet until we could get to Foley. We had to cover all these really unique sounds. So we did sand feet and body falls and body rolls.
You have Mark McGeaney telling you that he did fake Foley before he could actually go to the Foley stage and record Foley for his project. So this is something I want to share with you today. These 2 things that we covered: presenting yourself online, meaningful, so that other people can find out about you and recommend you to others so that you get your next job or actually the work that you want to have. And the other thing is becoming a better sound designer, sound person by recording more unique sounds. So I can tell you, being a Foley artist, I do this all the time, recording custom sounds for my clients. But also as a sound designer, a sound effects editor, it would add to your unique portfolio and your unique sound a great deal of quality to attract better clients, you know? I want to share that I can help you with this, implementing fake Foley in your edit suite or home studio before you even go outside and start field recording, or then hire someone to do Foley for you in the later stage of your project. You can start off, record really good quality impact sounds, footsteps, and all different props that you can imagine with a special technique that I developed over the years by working in non-ideal rooms. And I'm gonna show you a little bit of my journey, how I got there. So I first started out as a musician, as maybe many of us, right? So my journey started in 1999 when I discovered rapping. So I wanted to be a full-time rapper. I dropped out of school and then decided to found my own studio back then with a couple of €1,000 that my father gave to me in order to start this. And I just used the money and bought equipment. And I was renting a very cheap place where I also lived. So I basically lived in my studio. A couple of years later, I moved to Berlin because I could intern at a proper music studio. That's where I also recorded my first album. So this was the second part of my journey. And then I thought about what can I actually do to earn money with sound. As an engineer, I was never really dedicated because my music was number one. So therefore my engineering journey never really took off. There's one story that really shows how much this was a problem for me. So I was basically introduced to a job opportunity. I could mix a whole tour for an artist, and there was one test gig I had to do. And at that test gig, I made a really good mix, both for front of house and monitor, but I also took the opportunity and jumped on stage during the show to perform together with the main act, and we did some freestyle rap together. And then after the show, they told me, yeah, your mix was great, but we don't want to hire you for the tour because you clearly prefer to be in front of the mic and over being behind the mixing desk. So we need someone who is fully dedicated to that, and you are more into music than into mixing. So there you go. So after knowing that being a musician in the first place never gets me anywhere in terms of audio and engineering and working as an engineer and make my money from that. So I shifted priorities and started to look into film sound. Today, I'm a professional sound person, and during my journey, I always used the facilities to make more music. So that was the process of making my second album back in 2008 or 9. And now, this was 2 years ago, I did a workshop with youngsters, helping them to write new songs, and being a mentor is something I'm really passionate. So I'm using my music knowledge and my passion for that and mentoring young people with that. Anyhow, we want to talk about how to elevate your career as a sound designer. And that's how I did it. I basically decided, okay, film sound it is. I have to look into this. I wanted to study at a university, but they wouldn't accept me. And therefore, I then started interning at other places, went from set being a boom operator to interning at post-production facilities. And then I found the place to be. I wanted to be there really badly. And I managed to get an apprenticeship in that place. And it's called Basis Berlin. Was the place for me where I learned everything, the basics about sound effects editing, dialogue editing, recording ADR and Foley, mixing for linear media. So these things I learned with basically the best people in Berlin. This is something I'm really grateful for up until this day. So if you can find a mentor that can help you transmit their industry experience to you, that is invaluable. I not only could stay 2.5 years with them, during my time there, I met someone called Lee Herrick, shoutouts, who then became another mentor of mine, who actually helped me to go to London and be there for a month, learning with the people there. So that was also a great experience for me to do some additional sound effects editing for a movie called Gladiators of Rome, and then also did some ADR editing for a movie with Antonio Banderas, Black Gold. I could attend some mixing sessions and talk to all the people there. It was really, really great experience. And then after those 2.5 years of apprenticeship, I landed my first job as an intermediate sound designer at a post-production facility, which was just started within the city of Berlin. They came from Munich, are attached to Bavaria Film Studios. So there was a lot of budget involved and projects were there. And they wanted to have a facility in Berlin. And I was their first audio person to be hired. And that was an intermediate position, not a junior, not an intern, not a trainee. And that was just amazing for me to do this because I applied. Then my mentors from the apprenticeship from Basis Berlin, they recommended me to the managers at the new place. Then I phone called them all the time, like, can I come? Can we have the discussion about the job? They knew two things. I'm very dedicated and I'm definitely capable to do the job because my mentors, they made sure that these people understand that I can do it. It took me 2.5 years in my apprenticeship to actually then also learn how to do it. And that is something you also have to do if you start out. You have to get the knowledge and the skills and the hours in so that you can actually prove that you can do the job that you want to do. I got that and my mentor recommended me. So then there was also money. It was not a problem, not an issue for me. I would work for any amount of money. I just wanted that job, and that's also how I communicated it. I told this guy, like, literally, look, I just need, 2,000 euros to survive. So that's the minimum. Please give me that. And then they gave me a little bit more than that, but it was really like minimum wage, right? I didn't care. I just wanted to do the work. So that's what I then did. I worked for 1 year on a series, like day in, day out, dialogue editing, sound effects editing, Foley editing, ADR editing, and then handed over the fully designed episode to the re-recording stage. And then while they were re-recording 4 episodes, I worked already on the next episodes, and that for a whole year. Great experience, so much learning. I found my second mentor, who's called Eki Strauss, shoutouts. I learned so much from him, and he was mixing this show basically. So that's how we got to meet in the first place. And then the company elevated, we installed more 5.1 systems, started working on movies, and I was in the middle of that, so I could also participate, got my first 5.1 TV movie credit as a sound designer. And then I started building acoustic panels because it was unbearable to really work in those rooms. So I helped myself. And then we started mixing studios. We mixed in that room for a couple of years with my friend Eki, my mentor. It was horrible. You see, like, there's no real treatment in the room, and we still made it work. Then we expanded to 5.1, still no acoustic treatment. And yeah, some people got annoyed in the corner sitting there. They were like a composer or something. It was horrible. But eventually, after a couple of years, it looked like that. And within those years, I got the opportunity to think about if I want to become a Foley artist or not. That was the space that we rented next to the studio. We had this space for 2.5 years empty before we actually built the studio. But building the studio was the plan from the very beginning. So having this idea, my manager asked me if I want to become a full-time Foley artist, because once the studios are there, we're gonna have to hire one because there's a lot of work. I had 2.5 years to make my mind up if I want to do this or not. So we built the studios then. After, let's say, 1.5, 2 years, we started actually building it. We built a cinema mixing stage, which was also enabled for TV, 2 edit suites, a color grading suite, and a recording studio. And I was in charge of the technical planning, so that occupied my brain for 2 years. I was completely obsessed to get all the planning done. And there you go. We installed it, all the technicalities, the gear we used, all the wiring, all the planning of this was all my, coming up from zero to this was 2 years of my life, right? But I really loved this process. And then there it was. The only thing I didn't do in that process was actually wiring the preamps of the cinema infrastructure, because this was just too complex for me. But at least I organized everything, how the cables went into the RME, and then how we distribute the sound towards cinema and TV 5.1. And it was really like a challenge, but I loved this challenge. And then there was also the Foley studio. It took me 2 years to find, for example, this mixing desk from ADT, which I'm also using now in my own studio, more as a tool mod rack modules. This is just the best stuff. And I did a lot of research to find out all about this, you know. I got people who helped me, but the most stuff I did on my own. There was this studio then, and we didn't know how to really go about it. You know, I had my mentor that I found luckily, Carsten Rai, who showed me how to build those little modular surfaces and basically got me started on it, and who also assured me that I have enough talent to go for this. And then this was the first day of recording Foley in this ADR room, basically. It was, you know, a huge challenge, and we even worked double shifts in that room for a couple of years. So there was other Foley artists coming, so we made changes to the room, to the placement of stuff. And then the biggest problem was to absorb the energy that the Foley footsteps and all the impact sounds we put on the floor, that gets absorbed because it had a huge resonance coming back from the room, although it was a proper built recording studio with 0.2 seconds of reverberation time. And then we tried all the different types of foams and carpets and different room microphone techniques, and nothing really worked. So there's another foam that we tried, but it was horrible. We had so much low end coming back from the room, and it was just unbearable with whatever we did. The results were horrible. And that is something you might also face if you want to record footsteps or impact sounds in your edit suite or home studio. But we found a solution thanks to a Foley mixer who showed me a foam called Zulomer. And then we made it work in there with this little foam. Let me go back there. There's actually 1 or 2 photos, I guess. Yeah, here you can see the blue stuff here. That is actually Zulomer, which decouples the modular surfaces from the main room in a way that you don't have the energy going into the room as much. So therefore you can record without this low end boom, but still you have to maybe cut a little bit of your low end. And there's a microphone technique that I developed to get your low end back into the signal. But this is too much for this video, that we can talk about another time. So let me finish with the journey here. I then, after working a couple of years as a full-time Foley artist in that studio, where I actually learned how to record guerrilla Foley with a non-Foley room, I then got hired by Ubisoft. And that was basically because I knew all the things that I knew. I was a sound effects editor who could master stuff like make ready-made assets, and I could record in almost any room really good sounds. And that is also how I got the job in the first place, because I took all my equipment, put it in my station wagon, drove from Berlin to Düsseldorf, and then installed my modular Foley setup in their audio office, and then recorded live Foley to some gameplay that they showed me. And then they recorded my mono sum into their DAW, and then could play back the captured gameplay with my captured live Foley, and then they could see that the stuff works. And that's how I got hired, right? So this is like, I made this work in an office room within the Ubisoft offices, and I set up the system in, I don't know, 1 hour. And then I just started working in there. And that is something you can also do. I worked at Ubisoft for 5 years, took all my props, and then they wanted to give me a proper Foley studio. That was also one thing why I actually wanted to work there, apart from the AAA projects. But I ended up then doing sounds in this little booth here that I organized for them, because the studio was actually never finished. That was the planning of the studio that I put into. First I thought, okay, let's come with a movie approach. And then Pete Burgess, shout out, gave me the advice that I should design a Foley studio for video games more like that, because then you are way more flexible. And that's actually how my studio now is as well. I have a huge concrete area, and in the back a huge wood area. I'm set up for both movies and games in here. Yeah, I worked 5 years, built a huge prop collection for them. And then this was the recording space, just 11 square meters of a non-ideal vocal booth standing in an office. And that's where I recorded sounds for Avatar, for Assassin's Creed, and got even nominated alongside Formosa shoutouts for Best Game Foley on Avatar. That's the level you can also reach by recording more unique sounds, get in a realm of people like Mark Magini and Robert Dutzich. So record more of your own sounds and present your work online. If you want to elevate in your career and get to the next level and find your dream clients, I really urge you to start putting out content there into the world on social media to show people what you're about. Things will happen if you come up with good quality. And the good quality you can skyrocket with recording more unique sounds. So if this resonates with you, consider contacting me on Instagram. Just DM me. If you DM the word industry, you can set up a free call with me. And I'm really looking forward to get to know you, to hear your story, and to see if you are a fit for my private membership. Thanks a lot for taking the time and to listen to my journey. For more free Foley content, just follow here on Instagram, LinkedIn, here on YouTube. Just watch one of the next videos. Thank you very much, and up until the next one. Peace, the Foley teacher.